So, what happens on the page when nothing yet? There we are. And does this show me? All right, we got our first watcher. We have never done this, so we're trying to learn. Looks like we got 10 people so far, so we're testing this out. Live chat. I was hoping I could watch the live chat on my computer. Thank you guys who are early. Do me a favor, somebody type in the chat, because we want to see if we can see it here on the computer, because I can see it up there on the phone, but it goes by quickly and it's kind of almost out of range. So I'm curious if someone types something. Hi from PA, Robin. Okay, so we can see it down here.
Yeah.
All right, we came out a few minutes early just because we've never done this before. I think I've Facebook Live once, like holding the camera. Maybe it was Mom's birthday or something. I did something, but we didn't.
Do I need my glasses?
Only if you need to be able to see. You don't have to see.
I don't have to see. Okay.
But we did take a few pre-questions in case there wasn't anybody on to give questions. But I was hoping we could also get live stuff. So I'm seeing Robin from Pennsylvania, Sarah from Philadelphia, Aaron from PA, Deb from Oakland, Jennifer from Canada, Vicky, UK. We got someone in the UK. That's cool.
Nice. Nice.
Somebody says, hi, Austin says, hi, Bob. How are you feeling, Bob? We want to know how you're feeling.
Good.
St. John's, Newfoundland, Canada. Liz.
Oh, we've been to St. John's.
Yes, we like that. Rhode Island, New York, New Jersey, California. We're all over the map so far. We've got 180 people so far. We're going to kind of kill just a little bit of chat time till 7 because I advertised 7, but we came out early because we didn't know how this works, and I knew if I hit live it would kind of alert people we're live, but I also wanted to work out how we can see the chats and stuff. Texas, Wisconsin. Bob's list of things he wants to do. Okay, we're going to get some good questions here. This is great. South Africa, wow. Ohio, Waco, Texas, it's going by really fast. Michigan, okay, if I scroll it that way, we can slow it down. Minnesota, Jamestown, New York. We know where Jamestown, New York is.
Exactly.
That's the birthplace of Lucille Ball. Jackson, Mississippi, Scranton, PA, Louisiana, Indiana, Long Island, New York. We love those bagels from Xander's Bagels, right? Yeah. They come from the Bronx. Hershey, you've been to Hershey.
Yep.
Who doesn't love Hershey? Place smells like chocolate. Maryland, Memphis, Rochester, New York. We know where that is. Here's someone in Mooresville. Kelly. Hello, Kelly. I don't know who you are, but it's fun that you're from Mooresville. That's where we're from.
Where's Mooresville?
Right here. All righty. Well, we're up to 250 people. That's pretty cool. I love Lucy. Someone's saying that in regard to Jamestown, right?
Right.
Colorado, British Columbia, Canada, Louisiana, Nova Scotia, Canada. We got a lot of fun Canadian friends. We love our friends from Canada. Wisconsin, Columbus, Mississippi, Colorado Springs, Scotland. Scotland, love you.
Yeah.
Follow Miss Betty's journey. We got some stuff sent to us from Scotland. West Virginia,
yeah.
Kenya. There we go, all the way to Kenya.
That's new. Yeah.
I need to write this down. We had Scotland,
UK,
Kenya, UK, Canada. That's very cool. Any other countries?
South Africa. Yeah.
South Africa.
Yeah.
We've got, I feel like we've represented just about all 50 states here so far.
Yeah.
Because we've been, I don't know if we've had any Alaska or Hawaii, so maybe we got 48. But this is great. Thank you all for coming tonight. We're working out our bugs, and we're going to do some Q&A and maybe try to do this more regularly if this goes well, where we can answer your questions and help you, because so many of you are on or have been on similar caregiving journeys to ours, and we hear that all the time when we meet people. But of course, it's very difficult for us to help everyone or talk to everyone.
We love to talk
one-on-one. We love to meet people when we're out and about. Puerto Rico, Las Vegas, Nevada. I'm going to Las Vegas next week. South Carolina, that's not too far. Kentucky, Springville, New York. We know where Springville
We know
is.
Springville. Yeah.
We lived in Boston, New York. Mount Airy. We've been to Mount Airy. That's
Yep.
the home of Andy Griffith. You got in the cop car there, and I have a picture of you
did.
somewhere in the,
I was in
the
jail.
in the jail, Mayberry Jail. Delaware, Florida, Illinois, Ontario, Morrisville, North Carolina. Morrisville, which is near Raleigh, Durham Airport. Dallas, more Canada. Awesome. Okay, we're just a couple of minutes till 7, so I'm gonna kind of wait till 7 to start the substance of doing questions, but we can kind of chit chat. So the rumor is I'm gonna let you talk.
Really?
Yep. Do you want to talk for? Let's see. There's 5 minutes to start. Do you want to talk for 5 minutes?
I don't have enough to say for 5 minutes.
I hope so. Bethlehem, PA, Little River, South Carolina. We went bowling in Little River when we stayed at the beach house. Wisconsin, Dahlonega, Georgia. Denmark. That's what I'm going to put on my...
Yeah.
Denmark's another country. Hello from Oregon. Come back. I would like to come back to Oregon. That was so beautiful. I say it wrong. Is it Oregon or Oregon? I say Oregon and they kind of laughed at me. So it's Oregon. How do you say it?
Oregon.
Oregon. Oregon or E? Oregon.
Matt Roloff.
Yeah, we like watching Little People, Big World. It's midnight in the UK. Well, thank you guys for staying up with us. Texas, Arizona. I went out to Arizona to see the play The Woman in the Mirror. It was absolutely beautiful. Minnesota. I have friends in Minnesota. Texas. Dahlonega, Georgia again. Colorado. Probably the biggest question before we get started is people want to know what happened to your nose. Did I punch you in the nose?
I had a biopsy on a little spot, but it bled so bad that
Yeah.
I wound up with a ton of bandages.
They did a little biopsy on his routine skin checkup, and it was bleeding a lot. We went to lunch. I put another Band-Aid on it because it was bleeding, like an additional Band-Aid, and he just kept bleeding because you're on what?
Blood thinners.
He's on blood thinners. So it just kept bleeding, and 4 hours later, the blood still was dripping off his face. So we went back to the dermatologist, which is right around the corner, and they were able to. Jerry Hacker, Colden, New York. You used to boat with Jerry Hacker and go on cruises with Jerry Hacker.
Great guy, Jerry Hacker.
That's fun. It's funny. I'm sure there's other people we know that have popped up, and the things scroll by so fast. So forgive me if we don't acknowledge you, but somebody says, is Bob talking? Rumor has it, right?
Yeah.
Does your nose hurt?
Yeah, a little sore.
A little bit. It hurts when you get a biopsy. But then when they rebandaged it, they bandaged the heck out of it, and they put a lot on it. So what was kind of real subtle as one Band-Aid is now like 6 Band-Aids and some tape and a big piece of gauze.
It's probably no bigger than a pencil
It really was tiny.
eraser.
And we were supposed to change it about 24 hours, which was a little while ago, but I thought we'd wait till tomorrow just so if it does start bleeding, we can go back there and we have any trouble. West Virginia, we've got a lot of people. There's 300 people online with us. Allergy, my nose is running too. Allergy season, now that we're back from the tropical, allergy season is kicked in. I think there's tree pollen or something. Yeah. We're in North Carolina, just north of Charlotte. So it's a beautiful fall. It's still kind of warm, but the leaves are starting to turn.
We're supposed to get
There's somebody from
weather.
Buffalo, New York. We know Buffalo. That's where we're from.
Buffalo.
Bad news about the Bills, huh?
Oh, yeah. Sad night.
Sad night. I guess they can't be undefeated forever. Go Bills. We got a few Go Bills happening in the chat.
Go Bills.
Albany, New York. We've been there to visit Miss Tunney.
Yeah.
And I forget the name of that restaurant we went to, but it was very good. Jamie's doing the Alzheimer walk here in Maryland on Sunday. That's awesome. Thank you. Every dollar makes a difference, and we're very grateful that we've been able to do walks and also do the fundraising we have. Okay, I guess it's 7 o'clock. So if you've got a question, I'm going to try to field them in the chat. It can be about caregiving, Alzheimer's, us, whatever. If not, I've got a few that people have submitted ahead of time, but I gathered the list ahead of time just in case people, I wasn't sure how the chat would work and I'd be able to see them ahead of time or how hard it would be. I was hoping I could see questions on the computer and not have to see on the phone over here scrolling by very fast. So if you've got a question, type it in the chat. In the meantime, Chrissy Margaret from Boston, New York, we know who that is.
Sure.
She wanted to know how you take care of your mental health as a caregiver. She knows it can take a big mental toll to be a caregiver, especially with dementia or Alzheimer's.
Respite.
We learned that
Get out of the house.
respite was important. And
change the venue. Yeah.
yep, and it may not always be necessary or may not always be possible for you to hire the help you need, but do listen to your friends, your neighbors, your family, your church, anybody that might offer, because a lot of people will say, if I can ever help or, do anything, let me know. But then it's hard for you to ask for that. So don't be afraid to ask someone, hey, could you come sit for 2 hours while I go to the grocery store? Or can you come sit for 2 hours while I go to a doctor's appointment or whatever, just so that you can have a little break out of the house for yourself.
I used to go to the library and work on the computer and just for 2-3 hours, and I was good.
And you were very resistant to the...
Yeah, I didn't want to do it.
You fought me on that for a long time.
Right.
Probably 6 months. We talked about maybe we should get some help. Maybe we should get some help.
Yeah.
When did you start noticing changes with Miss Betty? That's from Kimberly.
Well, when we lived in Florida, the last year or so that we lived in Florida, I noticed that she no longer was reading books. She was having trouble counting money. She was mixing up her pills. I'd lay out the evening pills for her and mine, and she'd take my pills at the same time.
Yeah, if you laid them near her, she'd take your pills. We used to give her a hard time about her prostate medicine.
And she had trouble cooking, so I took over the cooking.
She kind of was mixing up things. Repeating stories was another first sign.
She would look to me to reassure everything she was saying. She had trouble playing bingo, and she loved to play bingo, and she had a lot of cards. And
she had the nickname Bingo Betty, so.
Yeah.
Sherry wants to know if we're going on another cruise after your last experience.
Oh, I hope so.
We have 2 scheduled. We have one at the end of November after Thanksgiving, and we've got one on your birthday in March.
Yeah.
So 2 more cruises are scheduled. Very small percentage. Norovirus is very contagious, and the outbreaks are bad, of course, but 1% of the norovirus outbreaks happen on cruise ships. So
yeah, and he was in the room with me when I was the sickest.
Right, and I didn't get it.
And he didn't get it, knock on wood. Yeah.
Let's see, somebody said it's the first time they've seen us live. We have not done this before. How is Dina doing? I'm sure you guys miss her.
Yeah, I just talked to Dina on Sunday, and she's doing fine, and she hopes to come down and visit someday.
That would be nice. And if not, maybe we can get ourselves up her direction.
Yeah.
She texts you a lot on football game Sundays, doesn't she?
Yeah, she's a Commander fan, and she knows I like the Bills, so...
Josh, are you scared of getting it? I'm scared. My dad has it. My aunt has it. My grandfather has it. I mean, it can be genetic, but it can also be environmental. I think it's important to pay attention, but there's not much you can do. So worrying about something you're not sure is going to happen may not be the best use of your ability to live. I know that's hard to just cross that bridge when you get there, but if you get there. But I wouldn't I wouldn't let it wreck your life obsessing about it. Just enjoy the time you have, because none of us know how much time we have.
I'm sure that Betty's dementia was caused by all the surgeries that she had, the anesthetics.
Yeah, she had a lot of surgeries that we believe some of the anesthesia. She never returned to baseline after a lot of her surgeries. Let's see. Eileen is saying she was a caregiver to her mother for over a year before she had to go to nursing home. She got quite violent towards me mentally and physically. And we're told she has a little bit of dementia. I'm confused. So there's different types of dementia. Dementia is an umbrella term. The number 1 type of dementia is Alzheimer's disease. And that typically affects memory and brain function. But there are other types. There's Lewy body and frontal lobe, I think. There's several. Some of those types of dementia will cause a little more agitation or violent, and it's possible to have multiple As mom got a little agitated at times, her neurologist says it's possible she's got a little frontal lobe dementia too. It has to do, I think, with what parts of the brain are dying. And at that point, he says it doesn't matter because obviously it's the outcome is the same, but the violent she could get angry or violent towards you.
She would strike out and scratch me or
Yeah.
dig me badly, and but then it was all over within two minutes. She'd want to go to bed every night, and we'd put it off because we wanted her to sleep all night. She'd get bad.
Kind of, because she wanted to go to bed, but if we put her to bed too early, she was waking up in the middle of the night, which was hard for you to sleep. So we had to, as time progressed, she needed more and more sleep, but we had to try to stretch her awake hours to match yours as closely as possible, because we did not have any help overnight, and the two of us wanted to and needed to sleep. Let's see here. Somebody said we did a great job taking care of her. Looking for the next question. I kind of scrolled up.
Well, taking care of her was a learning experience, that's for sure.
Right. Somebody asked if we've ever thought of going to Disneyland in California.
Well, we've been there.
We've been there several times, and we took that. There's a funny story of mom getting lost at Disneyland.
Yeah.
We did write about it in our book,
Yeah.
but she got up to use the restroom. Well, I was at a conference at the Disneyland Hotel. He was with her. The only day you were by yourself with her.
I had a tray of food.
Her in a wheelchair. She had to go to the bathroom. You told her it's over there. She got up and came back to the bathroom, no problem. Ate more food, and she often would forget that she'd been to the bathroom. And so then she'd have to go again. So he let her go the second time. And then she exited and went the wrong direction into a whole different land. And it was an hour or two before we saw her again.
Yeah.
And she was a code silver in Orange County.
She was sitting 100 feet away in another eating area that didn't get inspected.
Let's see. Bob's mother has dementia vascular, possibly mixed with Alzheimer's. Doing great except the socialization. She can drive, carry on a conversation. Short-term memory, biggest challenge. It's difficult enough to find new friends at the age of 83. But the socialization aspect, mom was a social butterfly all her life.
Yeah.
But she really did not, once she had the disease, socialization was hard.
Yeah. She withdrew.
She withdrew, I think, because she couldn't keep up with the conversations or whatever, but we'd have people over and you could have conversations, and she would just exist there.
I would worry about somebody driving at this stage. I had a friend that left a cottage and he drove, and then he got lost. He didn't know where he was, and the troopers stopped. They had no idea where he came from or where he was going. So you got to be careful with that. They can go by a school bus or whatever. So
You get confused. We had a friend whose mother was driving to her beach house, and she had done that many, many times, and she got herself confused and ended up in a whole different state hours from where she was supposed to be. And the police found her, and they had to have the police put her in a hotel till they could get there. Eileen asks, what were her wishes when she found out about her diagnosis? And the answer for us is she had other health issues. She had a couple of bouts with cancer. She had lung cancer, kidney cancer. She had a tumor in her colon. She had a hip replacement. She had a lot of health things happen before the dementia. And so we started to notice all these issues during that time, but it was not a pressing issue. We dealt with all the other...
Never ask about it. Once in a while she'd say, what's wrong with me?
So by the time we got the official diagnosis, she was already moderate to severe.
Right.
And that socialization thing, she sat in the room when the doctor explained it all to us, and he didn't mince words around her. He explained everything matter-of-factly right in front of her, and she really just existed in the room. She didn't comprehend or understand.
Right.
If he asked her a question, she would try to answer it, but otherwise she was not taking it in. So by the time we had an official diagnosis, she had no idea, which maybe is the best way.
Yeah.
We've got some friends that have been diagnosed with it, and I think it would be hard to know that you had it. So maybe it's good for her that she blissfully was
good for her,
ignorant. Let's see. How old was she when you started to see signs of dementia?
Well, she was in her early 70s.
Yeah. The repeating of stories.
Right.
We kind of talked about it. It seems to be having some memory issues. You know, she's repeating stories. She's doing the pill thing. She never could remember her phone number or address. But some of that was because you handled everything. So she was able to play all those things off. We got a new phone number when we moved, when we retired, whatever.
But when we went to the doctor's office, she didn't know what state she lived in
Right.
or what day it was, who the president was, or any of that.
What's the first sign of dementia? I have a parent I worry about maybe experiencing it. I would say the repeating of stories. I mean, some of that's a little bit normal as you age, so it is a very fine line between normal aging.
Stories?
Yes. He repeats stories, or we have a whole conversation about something specific, and then I say something about it, and he's got no clue that we had the conversation, and I get worried, but some of that's normal for 87.
Yeah, I tune you out.
He tunes me out, because I talk all the time and don't let you talk.
That's right.
So some of that's normal, but you need to watch for things like the repeating of stories. Are they confusing things? Are they confused about counting money? One day, Mom went to cut a pie, and instead of cutting a pie like you would cut it down the middle, she started cutting weird lines in that pie, like Picasso. You know, it didn't make any sense. So stuff like that really should be ingrained in your brain, whether you can remember or not. If you start seeing those little things, question. And there's tests the neurologist can do. Somebody else here, I missed the name, asked about there's different ways to diagnose. There's apparently blood tests, things like that. Our neurologist just used a cognitive test.
Yeah, and our general practitioner does that to me once a year.
Right.
It's part of Medicare
Right.
Health checkup.
I think they ask you to remember 3 things: an address, a color, and then they have a conversation, and they come back, what were the 3 things? What was the address? Who was the person's name? And the neurologist, I remember I don't remember all the parts of the test, but I remember there were questions like that. Counting backwards. He gave her a piece of paper that had a circle on it and said, draw the numbers on a clock, and she couldn't do that. Write your name, stuff like that, where she struggled. And she always looked for us to kind of help her.
Yeah.
And of course, in those moments at those doctor's visits, you can't help her. This is great so far, guys. I appreciate all the questions. And I know we're missing some, but keep them coming, because I'm scrolling and it jumps around on me. So I'm trying to, it's very hard to systematically do all of them. A lot of people say that they learned a lot from Mom and our care, and that's probably one of the biggest reasons we shared.
Yes.
Right? We went into this not really knowing a whole lot about it.
Right.
And maybe we could have learned more, but before, like I said, when we were officially diagnosed, we've been through a lot of other things, and we were already moderate to severe. So we were in the middle of it by the time we knew we were in it. And so things change fast, and we just weren't about reading textbooks at that time. If there had been some social media or something where we could have learned from others, it would have helped us, because it seemed like every time we experienced something new.
Ours was, a 10, 11-year journey?
11 years, yeah. Yeah, so definitely. How long can a person have dementia before it's diagnosed? I think you can have it a long time, because, again, looking back, we say about 11 years, but there were signs a long time ago, shuffling papers around, forgetting things. So again, some of that can be normal, but some of it could have been early signs, and it kind of...
I started doing all the packing for cruises,
Right.
because she would keep adding stuff to the suitcase.
You noticed in your fun down in Florida, she wasn't making eye contact with people. She was looking for you for what do you call, confirmation of the story she was telling.
Sure.
Yeah. The trouble finding the right word. Gosh, I just had it. At what point did she give her permission and ask that her Alzheimer's journey be videotaped? Again, she was already moderate to severe.
She liked being videotaped.
Yeah, we did that like our whole life. Once videos and social media existed, she made funny videos. We went through all of her other health things online, her cancer. We just shared. We had a lot of friends and family, near and far. We shared, and she had no problem sharing stuff. or any of the funny antics you two did.
Right.
All the silly things. I mean, video was not as common back then, but if you go, I've had my Facebook since 2007, so if you go to the beginning, you're going to see me telling a lot of stories about, you know, her taking the wrong pills and things like that. So she enjoyed, I don't want to say she enjoyed the attention, because she didn't necessarily seek the attention, but she did enjoy the attention.
Yeah.
And so there's some fun videos we made when I used to, at a job I had, I videotaped patient testimonials, and I was setting up a new studio with sound and lighting and stuff, and she was there, and I said, sit in the chair, and she did a silly Aldi's commercial, and she got such a kick out of me putting that out there, even though she kind of like would be like, oh, don't put that out there, but then it, you know, don't share that with everybody, but she enjoyed everybody seeing it.
Yeah.
And ironically, we used to joke with her that someday your silly video is going to be on the Today Show. And I don't know if her video ever was on the Today Show.
Yeah.
You were on the Today Show for being sick on a cruise.
Yeah.
But she definitely, I mean, she was in newspapers and People magazine. And so as her family, we wouldn't have shared anything she wouldn't have wanted shared. She also was very much always about helping others. She was very involved in school and scouts and the volunteer fire department and whatever she could do to help anybody. So once we figured out accidentally that we had a platform, I mean, just in sharing our silliness of her talking to herself in the mirror, we accidentally stumbled on a platform in which I started getting messages from people about that they were going through the same thing. And I started conversing with people one-on-one. And that's why this is fun. There's 400 of you right now. Like, I can converse with you because it's hard to converse one-on-one about this disease and the journey. But we started doing that, and I sat on the couch there at the beach house reading you guys' comments, and some of the comments and stories of people going through this would bring tears to your eyes. Yeah. So once we kind of figured out we had a platform, beyond just the silliness, that we could maybe help somebody because it was a resource we didn't have. And so as her family, we know she would have been 100% behind that. And then all the good we've been able to do, we're raising money and the awareness. We've been able to raise a lot of awareness. We've raised over $100,000 for the Alzheimer's Association. Everyone that reads the book of our journey says that it's helpful to them, whether they've already been there or they're going down that journey. We hear from a lot of people who are starting on this journey. People totally love you. They're so sweet.
Oh, that's nice.
How was her long-term memory?
Her long-term memory used to be very good. And because she knew family, and we talked about her family, and we, during our retirement years, we went all around to all the different places that she was at as a girl, and we documented homesteads and cemeteries and things like that. And but her memory was great. I used to love her. We'd drive in the motorhome and we would talk about things. It was all old-time stuff.
Mm-hmm. How long from her being diagnosed until passing? Again, we were diagnosed at about the moderate to severe stage.
Right.
I'm thinking 6 or 7 years, right? From the cancer. She was diagnosed a little bit after the cancer, till she passed. So it still was a long time.
Yeah.
I've read different things about how long people with dementia live or Alzheimer's live. And, you know, sometimes you see 3 to 5 years after diagnosis, but we also know some people live a long time with it. And Mom did. She was, obviously we took good care of her, and she didn't have any other health issues. How do caregivers such as myself, this is Eileen, cope with the emotional stress? We struggled. We had a few breakdowns just because there were some days that were hard.
Yeah.
There were some days we had big challenges. There were days that she frustrated us. And as much as you know in that moment that it's not their fault, it's not them. Sometimes the outside perspective. Dina was very quick to say, that's not her, because Dina knew her before she was sick. That's not her. You know, you can't get mad at that, but it's still, we got mad at that. We lost our temper a lot, and it happens.
I struggled with a bathing situation. I struggled with the toilet.
Yeah.
Especially if we were traveling, that was that was
out of our own element was hard.
yeah.
Is it hard to diagnose? I don't know. I think it's hard to diagnose early on, but once you start showing symptoms,
And it's a slippery slope. Once you start on, there is no getting better.
Yeah. At what point in Betty's disease did we get Dina, or I guess outside help in general? I think we had outside help the last 2 years.
Right.
And it started, maybe it was even closer to 3, because we did dabble with some. You were struggling with bathing her, and that was becoming a fight every week. We were trying to give 2 showers a week, and that was becoming a fight for you. Difficult for me to help.
The golf outing too.
The golf outing. So we started having someone from church come and essentially babysit and sit with her on Tuesday nights so that we could go out to a golf group. And then that was during COVID, because COVID kind of put an end to that. So that was right before 2020. Right. And then as bathing became difficult, we sought the help of someone who came part-time for 4 hours twice a week. And her main goal was getting the shower done and giving him or us a little bit of respite. If I'm traveling or whatever, you're here by yourself. But,
yeah, and I usually had a meal prepared. All she had to do was warm it up and give it to her. Betty fed herself.
And if I wasn't around, you went to the library or went shopping. If I was around, you and I went out to eat or did something fun, did a movie,
right,
whatever. And then that increased where I think we were doing maybe 4 times a week or something. We were getting a little extra help. And then you had cataract surgery. And cataract surgery facilitated his inability to bend his head down for 2 weeks. At the same time, Dina worked with me at a doctor's office where the doctor had passed away. And so Dina was newly unemployed, as was I from that job. And it was like, hey, do you want to come help out this week at home? So that was the first time we had like help 5 days a week. And I think I was around on the weekend, or maybe we were starting to get a little bit of help on the weekends. So we had enough that we pieced it together. And then we really liked that. It was very helpful. The toileting became more difficult. Getting her out of bed became more difficult. It really was, it was manageable if both of us were here, but if I was traveling or I had meetings or had to do anything, I generally work upstairs, but sometimes I had to go to meetings or do things, then it was really hard for you.
Yeah, if she wouldn't stand up or something and she'd slide out of bed, and I couldn't get her back up on her feet, so you'd have to get the fire department. And it was a 2-person job getting her out of bed.
Yeah.
Or going to the bathroom.
At some point, a 3-person job.
Yes.
Because we had help, and it still took us. Why did we decide not to put Betty in a home versus staying at our home?
I would never do that. I wanted her to be with us as long as we could possibly have it.
Yeah. I mean, some people, they don't have a choice. I think if it was you by yourself, you would have hit a point where, especially if you could not afford the help.
Then I would have had no choice.
I was able to help facilitate some outside help, as was one of my brothers. So the 2 of us, we were able to kind of make that happen.
Yeah.
But not everybody's that lucky. So we were very fortunate that we were able to do that. And our desire was to keep her home as long as possible. I feel like she was so used to being right by his side that if we were to have separated her,
that would have shortened her
it would
life.
have really been short for her to pass away after that. Is dementia curable? Not at this juncture.
No.
Somebody said she would want us to help others with the videos. Yeah, she certainly would.
Yeah.
Let's see. I'm looking for other questions. It's hard to see. Things are scrolling by. One that I had earlier was, were you and your dad always close? Yes, we were always close. Obviously, an experience like this made us even closer because we were in front lines of battle for a lot of years together with only each other to lean on. But
you lived at home until what, 20?
I lived at home until I was 21. So and then I moved to North Carolina in 1996. You guys retired in 99.
Right.
They retired in 99. They did full-time RVing. You traveled around. You started visiting us here in North Carolina once a month, and then it kind of turned into 6 months here, 6 months in North or Florida. And once she was diagnosed with the lung cancer, you decided to settle here just so we could have some consistent medical care. You weren't sure, bouncing back and forth, how well it was going to be to get consistent medical care.
But Josh and I had a business together.
We had a printing business when I was in high school.
Up until you moved.
Up until I moved.
Yeah.
A lot of people are saying that our videos help them recover afterwards or help them deal with it. Have they found any more medication? I know they're working on some. I'm not up on a lot of the science of it. They're working on some new medications to help slow it down. Betty was on something to slow it down. I'm forgetting now. I think it was Aricept maybe.
And then there's a medication to keep her calmer.
Right.
Yeah.
Kind of keep the anxiety down.
Yeah.
Wondering how your leg is. Your leg was bandaged up on the cruise. What'd you do to your leg?
Well, he tried to drown me.
The day he almost drowned.
Well, we were at sea, and the swimming pool would get waves in it anywhere from 6 to 8 inches, sloshing back and forth, and I got in the pool, and because I've got a bone spur on one foot, I wear water shoes, and flipping around, I think the water shoe, I dug up my shin because they're kind of abrasive on the bottom, and that was a funny day.
And then you were in the water, and the water's dirty and salty, and it was burning.
It was burning, and I knew I'd had a sore, so.
And I wanted to make sure we didn't let a leg wound get out of hand again. So I had antibiotic ointment, and I had Band-Aids, and it looked kind of bad for a little bit, and I figured we would seek medical help if we needed to, but
I decided not to go in the pool anymore.
Yeah, you stayed out of the pool the last few days. We touched on this, but Mary wants to know how we learned patience. How do you handle that?
That's tough, really. And I want to say it happened. I would lose my patience once in a while, and you probably did too.
The good news is, for the most part of us, if one of us lost our patience, maybe I was upstairs working and I could hear him losing his patience, and I could come down and just kind of intercede and give you that moment to walk away and reset. And maybe you remember differently, but I only remember one time where we both lost our patience. And Dina took the day off, and it was a Monday or a Friday or something, and you and I had to get her up. And the procedure was, we got her up, we put her in a wheelchair, we took her to the toilet, we put her on the toilet, we changed her pants, we got the pants changed, we brought her out, got her breakfast. We could not get her to stand up out of that chair to get on the toilet to get her cleaned up.
Yeah.
And this was before and she generally did that if she'd had a mess. So she knew, and she would avoid that. And of course, you don't want them to sit in that for very long. That can lead to other infections and things. And you and I, we were in the bathroom, and it was before we were changing her in the bed. Once we started changing her in the bed, as much as we resisted that, because it felt like a step of oh gosh, she's losing it totally. Yeah. It really was a whole lot easier and safer. So I wish we hadn't resisted that as long as possible. But you and I struggled probably for hours that morning.
Yeah.
And I remember the powder room where we used to put her in the bathroom was right by the front door. And sometimes we could put her in the wheelchair by the front door and she could look outside. And I remember we were so frustrated. We had her just wheeled up there you're going to end up going to a home because we can't do this, and just left her there looking out the window. And because we both had lost our patience so much, and it was such a hard day. And we're pulling on ourselves. Both of us were hurting our backs, and you're risking falling down, and things in the bathroom, towel bars and things are getting pulled off, and stuff's getting dirty.
She's dead weight.
Yeah. And if she was working against you, trying to not stand up. So patience is hard. I say taking the break would be helpful. And if you've got, again, respite, because we had each other, even if you can step away for 5 minutes and let somebody else kind of deal with it, as long as they're safe, us leaving her sit, look out the window. Yeah, she needed her pants changed, but it was a safe.
Yeah.
She's safe looking out the window as long as she's in that chair.
Sometimes it only took a few minutes, and she
change
your
because you
attitude.
come back at it a different way, and it's all
Yeah.
it's all in how you come back at them. Lots of people have. I mean, I'm scrolling through and I'm seeing their dementia stories of mothers and husbands and grandmothers.
Yeah, it's unreal.
Mary's mom was over 25 years with Alzheimer's.
Oh boy.
That's hard. Janice, remember Janice that we met? She was a fan that was from Texas that was traveling through, and she says, "These guys are exactly like you see them. They are kind, loving, generous, and sweet. They don't deserve any negativity. They are so dear to me. I'm so blessed to have gotten to see them in May of this year." She and her husband were driving. Where were they driving? They were driving from Texas to where? Virginia?
They were visiting grandchildren and relatives, and they had one in North Carolina near here.
Mm-hmm.
But they met us, and we had
her husband had the start of Alzheimer's, and we met with them and had lunch with them at one of our. We met them at Mooresville Family House.
Yeah.
So we love all the opportunities we've had to meet some of the followers. People absolutely love. Let's see. Lee says absolutely love that. You let us spend time with Miss Betty. It's so hard to be a carer and caregiver. Miss Betty was such a joy to watch and such an amazing and special lady that touched so many lives.
She was.
Yeah, we were very, very blessed. Okay, I'm looking. Did you feel guilty at any point?
Did I feel guilty at any point?
I think I mean, that's a question from Donna. I don't know if it means him or me. We definitely felt like we gave her the best possible care. No, I mean, I don't think we felt guilty about any of the care we gave her. Did we feel guilty for putting her on the internet? No, she was on the internet since the internet existed, and her tech son put her on the internet. And for all those reasons, she'd been very happy.
She had the best of medical care.
Best of medical care. And then we had so many wonderful followers from all over the world that sent her so many sweet things that were a great distraction for both of you. Opening the presents. I mean, we didn't do it to get presents. It just kind of accidentally happened that way, that people were sending things. But those smiles that she had were genuine. You enjoyed reading every card, letter, opening every package, reading all the notes that we got.
We had hundreds of letters, hundreds.
Yeah. Let's see. Love the videos. I really want a book. Maybe next time we do a live, we'll do some kind of book giveaway.
Oh, speaking of books.
Well, so actually, there was a question ahead of time that plays into that. What age, Jen ahead of time submitted, what age did Bob meet Betty?
Well, actually, we went to 5th grade in the same school. Our school districts combined. She lived in one area and I lived in another. The school districts combined, and they didn't have enough room to accommodate both districts in one location. So the 5th grade, I got shipped to her town, into her little school, but they kept her 5th grade separated from our 5th grade. But I met her at the playground. I met her brother. I made friends with her brother, and he told me who she was. And then I didn't think much about it. And she eventually came to my school when she was in 7th grade. So we were classmates from 7th grade on. So I would say 10, 11 years old when we first met. We started going together in our senior year of high school, and I was 17 and she had already turned 18. And prior to that, I double dated. I dated one of her friends, and she dated my best friend. And we used to go to drive-ins or the movies as double dates. And I always thought she was pretty nice, but she was going with somebody else. And then I kind of convinced my friend to break up with her, and he did. I think he kind of lost interest.
Right.
And then it took several months during my senior year up till the first of the school year to get a first date.
Get the courage.
Yeah. Well, not a courage. I wanted the date. I'd kissed her 2 or 3 times in the interim. Before we even...
Sly one.
Yeah. So then we started going together in January of 1956. So,
And you were just writing this story on the cruise. You were working on your book.
my book, yeah.
So he's working on his book, which is his life story, but ties into all of that of how you met Mom and kind of that angle, more of your life,
Our married life.
and your life. So
Yeah.
look for that in a couple of months. So that's why when I saw that question about how did you guys meet, I'm like, well, there's a lot of that. I just read that while proofing the book. Couple of the
other part of that thing was that we received a flat teddy bear from a fan in Australia, and jokingly I started calling the flat teddy Flat Stanley. So Betty loved this teddy bear, and then every Monday I would pose Flat Stanley.
You got a kick out of doing that.
Yeah, with some of the other stuffed animals that Betty had received, and some of them were kind of a little bit off color, maybe some of my jokes, but we've now put together the best of we're calling it Flat Teddy, and we made a kid's book.
That helps teach about Alzheimer's.
Yeah, so we hope to raise some money with that Flat Teddy book.
So look for that as well.
Yep.
Victoria, but also several other people as I'm scrolling, asked if we utilized hospice.
Yes, we did. First, we had palliative care, and palliative care would come, once a month, I think it was, and they would check her vitals and if we needed anything. And then eventually we got to the point where hospice became available to us, and hospice came once a week, and they had a top-notch nurse that came and would check her vitals and talk, and we'd ask questions. She would ask questions of us, and they were just so helpful. And they provided a shower, bench, the hospital bed.
Lots of equipment. So resources. Hospice was great because they were here every week. And
a lot of suggestions.
Yeah,
good
if she was constipated, here's what to do to make this, mix this, get this. That just really, it was all comfort and care.
Yeah.
So hospice was another one. Linda asked, could she still do the stairs? You guys were upstairs for a while.
Right.
But they do kind of begin to lose their ability to remember how to walk and do stairs. And that became, we got to where we couldn't, one night we just randomly couldn't get her to stand up.
Yeah, she wouldn't get out of the chair.
Yeah, she went back to standing up, but there were times that she couldn't. So we switched bedrooms. My house has a first floor master, and at that point is when we decided to switch. Colleen asks, would you recommend outside help earlier or later?
I think you're going to know when you need outside help.
Yeah. I would err on the earlier side because, again, I feel like 6 months earlier, we finally made like a New Year's resolution, but I think we were talking about it from summer or fall on about maybe getting some help.
Again, it goes back to respite care.
Yeah.
You're important too.
Yeah, you have to, and I forget, I would need to check the stat, but it's something crazy like 80% of the time, the caregiver passes away first than the person they're caring for because it's such a high stress thing. So that's very important. And I always knew in my situation, you were the primary caregiver and I was able to be supportive, but I was still able to work and live my life and do things. I knew if something happened to you, I was really in trouble because it would have been very difficult to work the way I need to work or go and do the things I want to do to live my life. So I knew we had to get the help to make sure we were taking care of everybody.
It's very stressful. Very stressful.
Robin asked about her loved one being stubborn and that it was so nice to see Mom was so easygoing. However,
Mom was stubborn.
She was very stubborn.
Yeah.
Who was she like in her family that was stubborn?
I would say your dad. Yeah.
Lexi asked if we're going to do a book signing event in the near future. Maybe. We haven't really talked about it, but we didn't have the attendance we'd hoped for, I think, because he had been in the hospital in and out, and I think people didn't know whether he'd really be there or not, so plans got changed. You can order a personalized I'm Betty book at the website I'mBetty.com, and you can order it there, and he and I sit and sign and personalize every one of them and mail them out. So if you'd like a personalized book, we can do that. But we'll keep you posted if we do anything like that. Excuse me. Let's see, Josh, were you worried about your dad and the fare that he was giving your mother, that he would become sick? Oh, probably the care that you were giving. Yes, I was worried that something, I kind of just touched on this, Mary.
Oh, we didn't talk about the stroke.
Yeah, so in the middle of, well, the first time when she was beginning to develop Alzheimer's, although we were undiagnosed, and she had hip replacement, colon surgery, lung cancer, kidney cancer, and she was hospitalized several times in the middle with sepsis and complications from these surgeries. In the middle of that is when you had your first stroke.
Right.
And so even back then, we had probably, how long did you not drive? 3 months, 6 months? It was a good while.
Yeah.
He had a period of time where, and that felt like a lot of extra, even though you bounced back really quickly. The stroke affected your balance. It just felt like a lot from the standpoint of he can't even drive and get his own medicines and stuff anymore. So we had to, make sure you had food and everything. And then in the midst of when Mom did need fairly full-time care during waking hours, and I was away and my brother was away, you had another stroke, this time affecting your vision. And it wasn't long after we brought in full-time help.
So then you had to get somebody 24.
I had to Dina came after church and stayed with Mom so that I could get on a red eye and get back. That was scary because I was far away and if something happens to him, I was worried about him, and neighbors got him to the hospital. But then I also had to worry about, she can't be alone for a minute. So that was very difficult to see who could get there. And thankfully we have a good network of friends and neighbors. And
then we rigged our door locks so that the neighbors could get in.
Gave people codes and things. So if something were to happen to him, I could call, and I had cameras so I could see, God forbid, he's laying on the ground. She wouldn't be able to get any assistance for you.
911 on the watch. And
even, you had the Apple Watch in case you fell, and we could always give the paramedics a code to get in the door if need be. Patricia says her sister-in-law can remember things from long ago, but now she can't remember things from 15 minutes ago. Is this a form of dementia?
Yeah.
That's a form of Alzheimer's, or Alzheimer's. And the way Alzheimer's was described to me once as, you've got a bookshelf, and every memory in your life, and maybe it starts at the bottom, your early memories at the bottom, and you're putting the books in, and you're going up the shelf. And as you start to get Alzheimer's, you start to shake this bookshelf. And the first books to fall off are the ones at the top, the most recent ones. Those core memories, childhood, that stuff on the bottom shelf is going to be safe for a while. The harder you shake that bookshelf. But over time, those things are going to fall off. And that's kind of what happens. Mom would eat breakfast and then be like, I didn't get any breakfast. I didn't get a donut. And we made jokes out of it like she was trying to get another donut or another meal, but she really
was legitimate.
She really had no clue she'd just eaten. And that's why when she's, I got to go to the bathroom. And you go to the bathroom and you go through that whole production. And then 2 minutes later, I got to go to the bathroom. You just went, you don't. But she did have, until the very end, she had some memories of her childhood, and she would talk about her dad and her sister, she would talk about people from her past. So,
Jerry Hacker, if you're still on here, I had a dream last night about my boat trailer, so I must be thinking about you.
That's funny. Let's see. There were a couple other pre-submitted. Let's see. How old is Bob?
87.
87. You're going to be 88 in March. What were your biggest challenges as a caregiver?
The bathroom. The bathroom issue.
Having to get her in the shower.
Yeah.
For some reason, people with Alzheimer's don't like
they don't like water.
Water, and it's a sensory thing. It's a traumatic thing. Linda's asking, do we use a bed alarm? When you guys were still upstairs, we did use a bed alarm. so that we would put her to bed usually around 8 o'clock or so. And she would stay in bed for a while, then she would get up and go to the bathroom. And she was capable of getting up and going back and forth by herself.
I made many trips running to see what...
We would run, so we could run and be on deck if she was out of bed. Or if she got up in the middle of the night, you knew it.
Yeah.
She fell one time at the top of the stairs. She did not fall down the stairs, but she fell in the hallway at the top of the stairs between the bedroom and the bathroom. And we were worried about, her head was hanging off, that she really could have stumbled and gone down the stairs. And so my brother made a gate at the top of the stairs, almost like a baby gate that dropped in.
But heavy duty.
Heavy duty. She couldn't take it down. So we would put her up there in bed, and then we would put that gate. And then we knew two things. First of all, she couldn't try to come down the stairs without us knowing about it. But with the bed alarm, we'd have known she was out of bed. But if she were to fall, there would be a railing there to catch you before you went down the stairs. There was no way to fall down the stairs with that gate there.
She fell 3 or 4 times upstairs.
Yeah.
And once at the top of the stairs, we had to get the paramedics.
Yeah. Because we weren't sure when she goes down and, she's expressing things hurt. We weren't sure what, what injury she might have.
She fell in the bathroom and hit her arm or something on the door latch and cut her arm. And there was blood all over the bathroom up there.
Yep. Kimberly's remembering one of our cruises when she picked up the rock, like the one she wanted to take. So yeah, that was really funny, those videos. It was years ago on a cruise, and we were in the solarium. She was in a wheelchair, and she was content on a cruise to sit all day with you and people watch, and he might read, and I'd come and go in and out of the pool or whatever. And there were those white rocks, and she loved...
She loaded up her pockets.
Yeah, but she loved landscaping and keeping the flower beds nice and arranging things just so all her life. So in that moment, she concocted a plan that these rocks were going to be perfect for lining the patio, and she started stuffing them in her pockets, and she wanted me to stuff them in her pockets. And then of course we wouldn't let her. And then that night we were helping her change to go to dinner or get ready for bed or something, and suddenly all these rocks are tumbling out on the floor of the room. And they weren't even real rocks. They were like plastic.
They're plastic.
They were fake, because they want to watch the weight on a cruise ship. And so we had to go put the rocks back. But we saw them.
And she tried again.
She kept trying. She was persistent with that stuff. Did you use a bed alarm? We're going to wrap up here at 8 o'clock, so we're getting close to the end. So any last-minute questions, let us know. Let's see, a question for each of you. Please tell us a favorite memory with Betty. So what's your favorite memory with Betty?
Favorite memories?
That's pretty hard to pick out one, isn't it?
All our life, yeah. I guess our travels in our retirement years, we had so much fun.
Yeah.
In those years.
And that was something you guys wanted to do, so I'm really glad you were able to retire early and do it.
Yeah.
While she was healthy enough to do it.
Yeah.
Mine is probably kind of in my teenage years. We had a cabin cruiser boat that we spent every weekend on, and we had a group of friends down there that we boated with and had all kinds of laughs with. And she loved being the center of attention, the hostess, the funny jokes, making everybody laugh.
Yeah.
Picking up on the jokes, and she was the social butterfly, and we had the best laughs and memories.
Those were fun weekends.
Yeah, fun weekends, just laughing.
And Jerry
Hacker, who was on her earlier, was part of that group, so hope he's still on. Let's see here. Anything else? How much are your books? They're $20 with $5 shipping. You can get them on Amazon, but the ones on Amazon are not signed. If you're international, I recommend. It's very expensive. We met a lady on a cruise, and I sent her a book. She was from Australia, and it was $80 to send. So it's not practical for us to send books internationally, but you can get them on Amazon, and Amazon will send them to you from your local country's Amazon. But for the people in the U.S., if you want a personalized book, you can go on the I'mBetty.com website and do that, and we're happy to personalize. Do you think you guys will ever visit Europe or take a cruise there? I've been many times. I wish you had done Europe when maybe you were a little more mobile, because it is harder handicapped. So I don't know if you have any desire to go to Europe or not.
None. None whatsoever.
They want to know, did we go to Alaska or Hawaii? We've both been to Hawaii.
Yeah, Betty and I did a land and sea cruise to Alaska. We went all the way to Fairbanks and Anchorage, and for a week we enjoyed that. The train ride through and saw Denali. I guess it's called Mount McKinley now. And we went to Hawaii. And I've been to most of the Caribbean islands, and we've been up to Nova Scotia and the East Coast of the United States.
And I've never done Alaska. I would like to do Alaska, and I will. I'd like to do the land and sea like you did. Right now, for your cruise travels, for us, the less land intensive stuff is. Like, we go on cruises now. There we are. We're back. Somebody asked, how has this experience? How has this experience changed each of us? How has it changed you?
How has it changed me?
For
Well, it's made me very aware of this problem that affects hundreds of thousands of people in this country alone. It's just unreal, and now we know it's all over the world.
For me, it's I always was about helping others. I've always served Boy Scouts, nonprofits, my church, but it's allowed me to really look at everything we're doing and I'm doing and see how we can use it to help other people. And so that's probably the biggest change. And one of the reasons we're doing this is, you know, we did a lot of Alzheimer's content, and then Mom died, and we had a grieving period, and my Facebook is my personal Facebook, and we still do a lot of our stuff. But I said to him, I said, now I feel like I'm ready to get back to talking about it, because I still get so many messages from people. So we do want to kind of do something on a regular basis so that we can continue to give this knowledge back to you and help support you in your journeys. I will say there are 9 minutes left, and there have been no questions about butter. So give Bob a butter question.
I'm shocked.
We got 9 minutes for a butter question. Who could come up with who's got the best butter question? Somebody's asking if we'll go to Buffalo for a book signing. Maybe next summer we should try to. We just need to find a place of someone that would host us. How often do you do a live? We've never done it. I wasn't sure how this would go. We'd like to maybe do it once a month. I'll keep you posted. We'll see. We've had good attendance, and I've enjoyed getting the questions. So maybe we'll do another one for sure. We should do more lives. It's great. So maybe we'll do that. I'm still looking for all right, Bob, Virda, what's the best butter?
Butter that is produced from cows that have access to good pastures, and we've kind of found that the Kerrygold imported butter is
our fans kept saying
top of
do
the
the
line.
Kerrygold, and we did kind of a joke taste test, but it was a legit taste test, and both of us and my brother all picked the Kerrygold.
And a fan sent me 2 pounds of butter from.
That's the next question. Have you tried Amish butter?
Yes, they sent me 2 pounds of Amish butter, and I've been using it to cook with, and it's fantastic.
Salted or unsalted?
It's unsalted.
Well, what about your preference overall? Salted or unsalted?
I like salted, yeah.
Okay, this back to Alzheimer's. Somebody said it's funny we did not see this disease in the 1900s. You said we did. We didn't know what to call it. What did you call it in your day?
Well, old people, you thought they were a little muddled in the head. And
Just was kind of like senile.
yeah, every family had an old elderly person, an aunt or a grandmother or somebody that lived with them until they passed away, and maybe they weren't right in their head, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So
Somebody asked if we've ever churned our own butter. We have not. I saw that
We talked
lady.
we talked
That
about
Amish
doing
lady
it.
who's got a TikTok made butter in a mixer, and I said to him, I said, we need to do that sometime. And I wish we did it when Dina was still here, because Dina would have helped us clean up any mess in the kitchen.
Yeah.
But we'll sacrifice someday, and we're going to make butter. Maybe Christmas. Somebody said anesthesia is a cause. There's been a lot of studies about anesthesia can accelerate. I don't know if it necessarily causes, but it does tend to bring it on faster. There's been some studies about that. And that was really what we saw, or what we believe accelerated moms so fast.
Yeah.
Maybe it would have been there all along to where she wasn't so bad at age 70, but so many surgeries in a short period of time, your body takes time to clear that out, and she never was able to really kind of catch up.
They're talking about air pollution too, that people that are exposed to contaminated air, you live in an area with high pollution, that could bring it on.
Margarine or real butter from Kim?
Oh, real butter.
Of course.
Yeah.
Best brand, we did that.
Yeah, we did a taste test of a bunch of different butters. It was funny. Blindfolded.
Did you ever eat B-cell, B-E-C-E-L, instead of butter? I don't know what B-cell is.
Yeah.
We'll have to look that one up. Kerrygold. It was called senility back then. Indeed,
Right.
senility. How old was Betty when she was diagnosed? What did we say, mid-70s?
Yeah.
I would like to meet you both in the near future. We love when we're out and about. We're going to be back at Disney World. We're going to be doing some traveling. If you see us or you're in the same area, don't be afraid to reach out. We do love meeting people. People are always worried about disturbing us, but we don't.
We met 9 people on the cruise
Yeah.
ship that knew of us
Yeah.
or followed us.
Yeah, you enjoy getting to meet people.
Yeah. We met a lot of people in Vegas. We always meet people at Disney.
You were meeting people at the baggage claim at the airport.
We meet people here in Mooresville that follow us.
Here's somebody watching from Cleveland, North Carolina, which is not that far. Hopes to run into us one day at one of the restaurants in Mooresville, since they're on the outskirts. Heart healthy is B-cell. We don't know what that is. Apple butter. You've had apple butter before.
Yeah.
Oh, B-cell is a margarine.
My mother made apple butter.
All righty. Well, I think we're coming up to the end. Do you have anything else? You got 4 minutes of open mic.
4 minutes of open mic.
I'm not going to stymie you at all.
One thing that was never talked about was the recovery period after Mom passed, the grieving period, I guess.
Yeah.
The first thing that we did, Josh and I went out to breakfast, and we came back here, and the house has got all these reminders.
Medical things.
Things.
I had put dispensers for gloves on the wall because we had people helping, and it was like, I had it like a clinic here. We had all the equipment we needed.
We decided, I said, get this stuff out of the house, and then we won't see that part of it. So we were sad for a while, and of course we miss her all the time, but getting those recent memories out of here was good.
Yeah.
But not a day goes by that we don't mention to one another something about her.
And in our travels, there's so many memories. We were on a cruise, and we're like, remember when Mom did this on the cruise?
Yeah.
Like, it's all the time. We go back to Disney. There's a lot of memories there with her, boating, traveling. So we remember her. Us going on, so she died last July, and we went to Vegas in August, which was kind of your first. We were going to take a cruise, and your passport had expired. And we went to Vegas. Vegas was a place you hadn't been since the 70s. I go a lot, and I always said, if something ever happens to Mom, I want to bring Dad back to Vegas and let him see. And that was kind of just a fun trip for us.
Yeah.
And then in October, we went on that cruise, and we finished the Betty book on that. And that was finishing that book and putting that all down was emotional, but also healing. Yeah, because it was our way to get our emotions out. And I hope those of you that have read the book feel the feelings that came out of writing that. All righty. Well, thank you everyone for joining.
Yeah.
And I know we had people from all over the world. It was a lot of fun. We probably definitely will do this again. I'd love to figure out how to also do it on TikTok. So I need to figure out how to stream multiple places. So I have a lot to learn. This is just something I've not done before and had a lot of time to mess with, but I would like to give it a try. So thank you guys very much for joining tonight. If you have more questions, love to see the comments and things, and we'll do this again. So thank you very much.
Maybe next time I won't look like Les Nessman.
Maybe you won't have a Band-Aid next time.
Yeah.
Who knows? The way you are, you always kind of have a Band-Aid somewhere. Les Nessman's. Good night, Les Nessman. Now I got to figure out how to shut it off. Oh, finish. See, we're rookies.